Hidden cameras revealed my wife's shocking betrayal. Reddit cheating stories. I never thought I'd be the kind of man who would install hidden cameras in his own home. But when trust starts to rot from the inside, even love begins to feel like a lie. My name's Adam, and this is the story of how a small, gnawing suspicion turned into the most painful discovery of my life, and how I learned that sometimes losing someone is the only way to find yourself again. It started subtly, too subtly for me to notice at first. My wife, Laura, had always been warm, loving, the kind of woman who could light up a room with her laugh. We'd been married for 7 years, and though we'd faced our fair share of challenges, I believed we were solid. We had built a life together, a cozy suburban home, good jobs, and dreams of starting a family soon. But then, something began to change. Laura became distant, not cold, exactly, but distracted. Her eyes were always on her phone, her replies shorter than usual. When I'd ask her what was wrong, she'd say she was just stressed about work. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But then came the late nights, first once a week, then almost every other day. She'd come home smelling faintly of a cologne I didn't wear. Still, I tried to convince myself that I was overthinking. That's what love does, it blinds you. It makes you ignore what's right in front of you because the alternative is too painful to face. But the moment that changed everything came one Thursday night. I called her office, wanting to surprise her with dinner. Her colleague answered, and casually mentioned that Laura had left hours ago. When I asked Laura about it later, she smiled, brushed my hair back, and said, "You must have called after I left. I was running errands." It was such a small lie. But her voice cracked on the word, errands. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my heart heavy with a truth I wasn't ready to accept. I needed proof, not because I wanted to catch her, but because I wanted to stop doubting her. To free myself from the torture of suspicion. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I installed a few hidden cameras in the house, one in the living room, another near the front door, and one in the hallway leading to our bedroom. It made me feel sick to my stomach, sneaking around like that. But the anxiety of not knowing was worse. The first few days, nothing happened. Laura was her usual self, cooking dinner, watching TV, scrolling through her phone. But on the fourth night, while I was working late, the cameras caught something that would break me to pieces. At first, I saw her pacing around the living room, dressed up in a way she hadn't for me in months. She checked her reflection in the mirror several times. Then, around 9 p.m., the door opened. A man walked in, tall, confident, with the same cologne I'd been smelling on her clothes. Laura ran into his arms. My stomach turned. It wasn't just the kiss, it was the way she looked at him. The tenderness in her eyes, the same tenderness she used to have for me. I watched, numb, as they laughed, talked, and sat together on the couch, the same couch we'd bought when we first moved in. They spoke about me, too. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught enough to understand. She said she didn't feel loved anymore, that I was too focused on work, and that things just happened. I shut the laptop and sat in silence for what felt like hours. My mind screamed, but my body was frozen. The woman I'd trusted with everything, my heart, my future, had chosen someone else. For days, I couldn't confront her. I went through the motions, acting like everything was fine, all while dying inside. Every time she smiled at me, I saw her betrayal behind it. Every, "I love you," sounded like a lie. Then one evening, she mentioned she'd be working late again. I told her I'd stop by her office with dinner. She hesitated, just for a second, before smiling and saying, "Sure, I'd love that." That's when I knew she was testing me. So instead of going to her office, I stayed home and waited. When she arrived, it wasn't with paperwork, it was with him. The same man. They walked in, laughing, completely unaware that I was sitting in the dark corner of the living room. When I turned on the light, Laura froze. The color drained from her face. The man stepped back, muttering something about not knowing. I just stared at her, my voice calm but trembling. "How long?" She couldn't answer. "How long, Laura?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "It just happened, I didn't mean to." "Stop," I said. "You chose this. Every single time, you chose this." I didn't yell. I didn't break anything. I just stood up, grabbed the ring from my finger, and placed it on the table. You can explain it to your new man, I said, and walked out. The divorce was messy, but I didn't care. What hurt the most wasn't losing her, it was realizing that I'd been holding onto an illusion. Months passed. Healing was slow. Some nights, I'd still wake up with her face in my mind, her laughter echoing through the silence. But gradually, I began rebuilding my life. I started focusing on the things I'd neglected, my health, my passions, my friends. I even started therapy, something I'd once thought I didn't need. One day, while cleaning out my old hard drive, I found the camera footage again. For a moment, I thought about deleting it. But then I realized that video wasn't just evidence of betrayal. It was proof that I had survived something most people don't talk about, the slow, invisible death of trust. I didn't watch it. I just renamed the file, lesson learned, and moved on. Looking back now, I don't regret installing those cameras. They didn't destroy my marriage, the truth did. And though that truth shattered me, it also freed me. Because sometimes, you have to lose everything you thought you needed to find what you truly deserve: peace, self-respect, and a new beginning. So, if you're listening to this and your gut is whispering that something's wrong, don't ignore it. Love can blind you, but truth will always set you free.